the 19th of February. This is how we're getting the show started. Get the market bell gets into the start of the new business and markets week across the continent. Welcome everyone to the show. But just a quick piggyback to where we finished off over the weekend across Africa. Let's start with yesterday, Sunday, where the Egyptian stock market, the EGX30, went up by 0.69% to kick off its own trading week. Today's Monday. The rest of the Arab community, the North Africa, and the rest of the world will be formally reopening. So we'll see how the market will perform in Cairo. But if we take it from the top, we find the Nigerian market 1.56%, a resounding positive close on Friday. The PRVN was better by 15. The Nairobi stock market eked out 14 basis points, still around 90 reading on the All-Share Index. The South African market, our biggest securities exchange, was better by 0.54%. Those are just a few reminders. The Zimbabwe stock market remained negative to the end of the week, however. Let's just take it up and look at the big stories from East Africa, where it all gets started in terms of where we are looking at the various regions in the continent. Kenya is looking at about 5.5% economic growth for this year, while Absa Kenya is expanding its Islamic banking footprint and opening its first major Islamic banking outpost in East Africa's biggest economy. In the meantime, Rwanda and the AFDB have launched a center to build aviation industrial skill on the continent. And that is one major upside for Rwanda, now looking in the footsteps of a few North African economies such as Morocco and Egypt, where you've got major industrialization hub, in particular for aviation sector. And Tanzania is looking at about $102 billion outbound market value with the United Kingdom, while the EFDB, according to its latest report, which was released on Friday, says the Africa's economy fell to 3.2% last year, but still among the best performing, and its outlook is positive for the current year. Let me walk you through the West Africa and top headlines as we start the new week. Nigeria's president was at the African Union's annual meetings over the weekend, late last week, and he says that Nigeria is ready to host the headquarters of the Africa's central bank. It's a new central bank that the continent is looking to host, set up in order to prefer solutions that will support African economies, and not just relying on the multilateral institutions, the IMF, the World Bank, and a few others in the Western world as well as Asia. So Africa wants to put up a single central bank. It's still early days, however. It's been discussed at the African Union. But of course, the idea is to set it up between now and 2028. And President Bola Tinubu says Nigeria will be willing to host the headquarters of that institution. In the meantime, Nigeria is expected to grow 3% this year. There was a new report released overnight by Allianz, which says that Nigeria has what it takes to grow about 3% this year. But again, that sounds positive. But if you consider population growth and a few other things, Nigeria needs to do double and more than that to be in the money. And petrol truck owners in Nigeria says they are calling their staffers and the workers to stay off lifting petrol products starting from today, Monday the 19th. The whole idea is because the operating environment is tough. The tanker driver says those trucks also use diesel. That's currently selling about 1,200 naira per liter. So they says it costs a whole lot more to move those products within Nigeria because they consume the same fuel, which is on the high side and which they deliver to customers. So today, we're likely going to see a bit of food paralysis from Nigeria if they make good. There are a few others who are also calling for a strike action because of the current economic tightness in the country. And Ghana says its first lithium mining project will kick off by the end of this year, while Guinea is talking carbon tax on mines, mining activities with the UAE. It's looking at about $4.3 billion to support that initiative. That's also here in West Africa. So let's take it up down to Southern Africa and grab a few headlines for you to start your week. The South African Reserve Bank, which is the central bank, may hit the rate cut button at its next meeting in March. That's according to Standard Chartered over the weekend. South Africa is also looking for private money for climate response fund, while FirstRand says its exchange traded note is going to be floated as a secondary listing on the Namibian stock exchange in Southern Africa. And Reserve Bank of Malawi is still struggling to boost the currency country's FX buffer. A number of African economies, Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, and a few others. Zambia are looking to how to support their FX liquidity within, because everyone has had a very crunching time with the availability or liquidity supply of foreign currencies. That's part of the stories. But again, let's just finish up in the northern part of the continent. And looking at the big stories out of Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and a few countries we cover there. The British Petroleum and Abu Dhabi International Oil Company, which is ADNOC, says they got signed a deal for hydrocarbon in Egypt, while the Maghreb Oxygen Morocco, which is listed on the Casablanca Stock Exchange, says it posted an 8% decline in its consolidated profit for the full year 2023. In Tunisia, total electricity production was down 1% for last year, part of a look-back economic data, while Algeria is still struggling with its FX black market, which is reportedly underlining the country's economic woes. Many of countries in Africa are also dealing with the black market for FX. Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and a few others as well, including Kenya. Let's leave it all there for today. This is your Frontier Opening Bell. Let's get the new week started. Whatever you're doing this week, make sure it's profitable. Have a great week, everyone. And from all of us at Frontier Africa Reports, we say thank you very much for watching. Go on our social media. Follow us across our social media. And of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube. It's also free at Frontier Africa Reports. Bye for now.